Overgrowth as promised, and we're bringing you the first match of ASL Prime, round of 16, Group C. Spawning in the bottom left, in the yellow, the Protoss player, hailing from South Korea, Arthur.
And his opponent, spawning in the top right, from Denmark, it is going to be Red Blood's Lillekanin. In the green. Whoa. Lillekanin in the green? Yeah, anyone?
I guess so, I guess so. I don't know. I'm waiting to see what he brings out, though, because we've seen him go mech every single game, especially against Protoss. He actually knocked Minigun out of the round of 32, knocking Minigun down with a really nice Banshee attack, just off 2 bases. And general map control displayed by Lillekanin has been amazing, with traditionally very slow and immobile units. So I really want to see what he brings out and what Arthur is going to do to deal with it.
Exactly. We've seen a bit of mech now. We got our wishes yesterday. Some really epic games. Supernova bringing that mech to the table. And Lillekanin was the first one, I think, that we saw at least, really do it quite a bit, especially in TVP. You know, a lot of the times you'll see Terran players go mech maybe in TVZ, but they won't necessarily go for it in TVP because they don't find it viable, or they just can't execute it, or I don't know what. But Lillekanin shows no fear, at least in the past. So Arthur is known as quite an aggressive player, and mech does take a bit to get going. So I'm seeing if we're going to see this kind of, because we saw the kind of clash of styles yesterday of 2 crazy, completely out of their mind players with Parting and Bly.
Yeah, so, they played a really interesting couple of series.
Yeah, but here we're going to see a little bit, maybe something different. Not necessarily knowing if he is going to be going for mech. You know, it's a thing that we know him for, but who knows? Sometimes you can do something else and kind of surprise your opponent, especially if they were studying you for a match that they did know was going to be this match for quite a bit. So it wasn't like they just got put in. It's not like an open bracket. They know who they're going to be playing first. They know who's in their group, and we'll see if they did their research as well, both of these players.
Yeah, I mean, if Arthur is half the Protoss I think he is, then he will have definitely at least had a decent idea about Lillekanin's play style, and he'll know that he often tends to favor mech. So opening with this kind of bio style, getting what seems to be just a straight 2-racks opening, which Arthur does admittedly, I think he scouts it. I don't know if he's seen that barracks above the natural yet. But, and then a factory being proxied as well, actually. But,
wow.
Yeah, he's opening in this way is possibly going to throw Arthur off a little bit, and almost certainly going to force at least an overcharge.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that second barracks showing that he does want to go for that aggression. And he's getting an upgrade here. It is the concussive shell. So I haven't seen this before. So I wonder if he's going to proxy a starport right next to that factory and just do some kind of 2-pronged attack to kind of catch Arthur off guard while he tries to defend both sides. And that's, he's going to do the proxy.
Oh, he sees it, though.
Oh, my God. I think he was putting it there to hide something, but he sees that factory floating in.
Exactly. That is a really weird time to scout that. Like, to fly, to kind of drift across as a probe and go, oh, okay, I see a flying factory. And you know what that means. You always know what that means. And these Stalkers are going to be ready right from the off to drive it back, drive it away. And already the factory is going to retreat a little bit. This attack from within the base of Arthur is going to be shut down. But the Widow Mines that I assume are going to be coming out of this factory will be able to support this bio push that we're seeing coming out of those 2 barracks. And this is like 2-racks pressure. This is a really odd style to go for these days, because with the advent of the Mothership Core, it's really easy to defend, and as we see, it's going to force it out. But it does buy a bit of time for Lillekanin, where Arthur isn't going to be able to push out really, and he's going to be forced to stay at home, forced to defend against this, and he isn't going to have another overcharge by the time the bio pushes back in again.
Nope. And Lillekanin tried to proxy it again, but Arthur is covering his bases. In the literal sense, it's actually, he has pylons on both sides. You can see that. And he scouted and saw that Lillekanin did not have an expansion yet. He had a reactor on his barracks, and you got to prepare for these type of things. And it looks like Arthur is pretty set here, getting that robotics facility, going to get the observer out. And he should be able to deal with any type of Widow Mines that do come. And now where's the starport going in? Is it in the main? Yeah. So we'll see where this game does go from here. I
mean, I guess the question is, even if he does deal with the mines, is he going to have a natural left for it to make any difference? Because this force pushing forward, there's 5 Stalkers that can defend it, but they're not Blink Stalkers. There's 3 Marauders in this composition. I think that this base is going to be going down in short order.
Yeah, that's really scary position here for Arthur. He has a lot of time until that Mothership Core is going to be full up again for that Photon Overcharge, sacrificing a few probes, and he knows that he can because he does have that economic lead at the moment. Oh, going to take out that Mothership Core, and now it doesn't even matter how much time passes.
Is this just going to kill Arthur? I do not know. This is pushing forward. I mean, the natural is almost certainly forfeit. All of the Stalkers dying off now. The Marines cutting back have killed a bunch of workers as well. Arthur dropping down just below 30 SCVs, and the natural killed off as well. Dead Mothership Core means that when this pushes up the ramp, with only 2 sentries, this might end up being just a clean win for Lillekanin.
Yeah, it could just be delaying the inevitable, especially with the medevac getting here. And he's going to be able to elevate her up there and pretty much bypass those force fields, so I'm wondering how long is it going to take for that medevac. It's going to be boosting across the map, most likely. And do we have any? No, the Widowmine is not here. He's trying to make another one. But looks like Lillekanin is just going to continue with this, not expanding off of it. He does want to kill Arthur right here and not even let him get going at all. So Arthur does have an Immortal coming out, another one. He has one on the board, so he can deal with the Marauders a little bit better, but that was a big loss there for Arthur.
Yeah, that is a serious loss. To lose a base, I mean, he probably paid for it straight out of the investment. He got the money back he spent on the Nexus because it was killed late enough. But at the same time, you really, really want to have 2 bases, Protoss. On one base, yeah, you can do good damage, but only if you don't try and expand first. If you try and expand and it gets shut down, you are not going to be doing any 1-base strats anytime soon. Although, as I say this, Lillekanin is now expanding, so perhaps there will be a small window in which Arthur can move out and make something happen.
Yeah, I think he is looking to. Well, this probe is coming down to the natural. I don't know if it was rallied there, if it did want to make another Nexus, but with the addition of another gateway, I think we're going to see some kind of push out of here from Arthur. And Lillekanin has a pretty scary force. It's not like, I feel like if these do go toe-to-toe with each other, with the addition of those medevacs, we can see some pretty fancy micro out of this Terran player, representing Denmark, eh?
Yeah.
Coming in with a bang.
I'm just looking at the situation. I think that it could come down to force fields in the end, and maybe the general medevac concentration, because obviously if there are enough medevacs, then we can see the pickups, we can see the general getting out of there when the bad engagement does go down or is forced out by Arthur, because that's what he'll be trying to do. He'll be trying to get a fight when he takes it that is superior for him. And I don't know if he's got enough, but with 2 Immortals and that many Stalkers, it could get pretty tricky for Lillekanin, because this is still a scary Protoss army, even if the Nexus is only just now being built again.
Yep. Arthur did decide to go ahead and put that down. He's not going to put all of his eggs here in this basket, as he does have a lot of vision around. He sees Lillekanin's army with that observer on top of it, but he also has another one, I believe, on the other side. Did he bring it?
A lot of force fields there, actually. Don't go up that ramp, though. That's exactly what he wants, trapping a bunch of Marines there. Got to see the Zealots go down, catching all of those units trapped against the force field, but it's still not enough, and Arthur calls GG.
Prime League is opening up with this TVP. This player spawning in the top right corner, representing Red Bloods. It is Lillekanin.
And his opponent already down a game in what was a pretty quick game 1 on Overgrowth. Now spawning in the top left position of Nimbus in the red. It is Arthur.
And here we go. This is a great position to spawn on as a Terran player, for the most part, just because of that easy access to the natural, if you do decide to favor that drop play. But as we did talk about it earlier, and I really hope that he does do some kind of mech play, just so you guys can see it. If you have never seen it before, mech in TVP is just so rare, and anytime you're able to see it, it's pretty cool when people do execute it. My favorite is just seeing how Protoss do respond to it, because people always say, like, oh, mech, it can't work, but then they forget how to actually deal with it. And, mech players probably try it all the time and think of little things to make it, mech it work all the time. Simply because it's a stubborn mentality, like, no, I can make it work, and you're not going to tell me that I can't. So
I remember very early on in Heart of the Swarm when we saw, I think it was, or maybe it was very late in Wings of Liberty, it was a Naniwa game anyway, and he was up against a meching Terran, and he was he swore blind that there was no way that it could work, and then it did. He lost to it because he hadn't opened his mind to the potential that mech can actually have. And I'm personally not a big fan of mech. I don't really like it to play against or to play with. It just doesn't entertain me. But the players who are good with it absolutely make it work as well, if not better, than Bio, just because it carries with it that kind of the ability to screw with someone's head much more than a star they're comfortable with dealing with.
Yeah, you usually want to. Well, I'm certain, these players are at such a level where they practice so many things against what is typically standard. So then when you get thrown a curveball like that, it's kind of interesting to see their decision-making on the fly between both of them. So I really like seeing players like Lillekanin, Supernova. Even earlier today, I can't remember who it was that I was watching, but they were doing a bit of it as well. It was in TVC, though, which is a lot more common than TVP.
Yeah.
So
no, Zergs does have to deal with mech a lot more often than Protoss does, but Arthur didn't have to deal with mech that time, and maybe
that he didn't.
No, he didn't. It was that catch out Bio, but this time maybe we'll see the mech come out. At the moment, it's just an expansion and a 1-1-1 style of build coming out of Actually, think about it. That's a second factory, so it's not a 1-1-1.
Ready? Okay, then there we go. We may see it, but I want to see what Arthur does as well. Arthur is one of those players that just has these sick control, and the builds that he does, he just will get in your head in the sense that I'm in your face all game, so deal with me, and usually will make a lot of players fold under that pressure. So Arthur looking like he is expanding and getting that robo up, looking pretty standard for the most part, just for now. But the fact that robo is rallied across the map, no, right there, it's going to be an observer. I was going to say maybe a warp prism, but it looks like it is going to be just an observer. And
I don't know, if you were in this spawn against the Terran, wouldn't you want observers out really early? You'd get them down, guarding around that natural. You'd be thinking, I really, really need to know when he comes at me, and it's going to happen eventually. That starport is almost complete, for example.
Yeah, you need it, especially, you said that, the starport being complete. Another factory getting put down, and tanks are already in production. Do we see that dual-pronged attack that we tend to see on certain maps, where you drop in the natural and then run some Hellions into the main? It's a little bit harder on this map because of that force field. It's so easy to force field the map, the ramp here on Nimbus. But I think that is maybe the case here. I don't know what Lillekanin would drop, though, because it's not a Legacy of the Void. You don't just pick up those siege tanks and they're sieged already when you drop them.
No, that's what we need to wait and find out, really. Arthur, of course, going for a really kind of standard-looking opening. He's getting some upgrades, getting the armor upgrade first to defend against, realistically, Bio, because that's what Terran makes 90% of the time. And that isn't going to serve him so well against tanks, because when a tank is hitting you for 55 damage plus splash, knocking that down to 54 damage plus splash isn't that big a deal.
True. Well, let's see. Arthur gets a nice scout in here, though. And he was going to make a warp prism, but he gets his observer into the main of Lillekanin, sees his base layout, and is like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? Cancels it immediately, doesn't even make a Colossus, and goes immediately into Immortal production, because that is what he needs here, especially...
Yeah. You got to get some early Immortals out, just if you want to have a hope in defending. And actually putting down a Nexus quickly, I think that's a pretty smart decision in general against mech, because mech, being that immobile force that we know about, it tends to make it quite easy if you throw down a natural, and it's an easy natural to defend. But I actually think that with a Hellion force, it might not be as easy as Arthur thinks, and instead the Hellions might run by and do some very serious damage.
Yeah, if he's not paying attention, he's going to lose quite a bit, because there's really nothing in the main except for that mothership core, and it does shoot pretty slow, and Hellions, all they need are 3 of them in order to really start toasting up that probe line, rather.
Yeah, there's a lot more than 3 moving out now.
Yep. So what are we going to see here? That is a lot of Hellions. Is he getting Blue Flame as well? It looks like he is.
Yep, it's on the way. It is on the way. This is going to be elite probe murdering machines moving, and they're not too bad on sentries either, actually.
Not at all. He's going to need to get a force field and just... Oh, he didn't get it, but he does have another sentry here.
Well, you remember what you were saying about it being so easy to force field? It's not easy to force field if you lose all of your sentries by moving them out a little bit early, and they just get toasted.
Yep, you are 100% correct here. And the choice of Arthur. Immortal drops. He's getting a Stargate. He's going to start maybe that Void Ray, but no, he's going right into Tempest. Does it look like, or
it could be actually.
What if he just goes in a carrier? I mean, isn't that how Minigun dealt with it?
God, if he goes straight into Carrier, I will love him forever.
Well, with that third base coming down and these mech pushes, depending on, I don't really know the timings in TVP, but you know, a lot of the times mech does love to have a maxed out army before they do move out. But there are a few timings, and if Arthur keeps them occupied enough, then Lillekanin is going to have a really nice ground force with a bunch of tanks and Hellbats, and then Banshees.
Oh, Helium run by into the third base tempo, running in, getting a bunch of probes with that last shot, and now getting out of there. No losses taken by the Helium force, and Arthur reduced to a lot fewer workers. He's now, how many did he drop? 12 there? Yeah,
he went. We didn't lose 50. Yeah, he's up to. He's done.
Look at them juke around. They've just run around the other side. Ah, they're all going to go down. Is even going to bait out perhaps Vision on the... No, the Colossus says, it's, you know, these guys aren't worth it. And he sees it anyway. Helion's running past, going to get seen by the Colossus. And it's actually going to be Tempests out first from those Stargates.
So he's going to be going right into Tempest. Won't be doing any additional damage to anything, but it does give him that ability to... Ooh, nice drop there to catch those.
Beautiful.
But I think like going Tempest allows you to not get contained by a mech player. So if you're trying to defend here, you don't feel like you're stuck and just waiting to make a good engagement. You're the one that has those Tempests, and you can outrange this mech army. But does he even have enough time? As Lillekanin is already pushing out with quite a scary force. +1's not going to be done though, so this timing is just to go in, I guess, and see what he can get done.
Yeah, it is a good question as to whether just having the Tempest is going to be enough. There really isn't that much anti-air at this point in the army of Lillekanin, so I don't think he's going to be able to kill Arthur, just because those Tempests will have... Oh, but of course, the PDD. PDD just completely negates the Tempest. They can't do anything. They regen energy practically as fast as the Tempest can fire, because they fire so slowly. And at this point...
no. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Arthur's in, and now he loses his third. And yeah, I never even thought of that. The Tempest DPS is so low that it really didn't even make a difference there.
This is basically why I don't like Raven Battlecruiser as a Protoss player. It'd be fine if PDD didn't just stop it.
It totally negated everything there. And Arthur probably was like, wait a minute, whoa, well, that sucked. So now Lillekanin going to go right back. He's taking a ninja base. Arthur is in the bottom left, realizing that he just can't hold that apparently at the moment, but he will make it look like he's expanding here again. But the main focus is going to be that one in the bottom left, because that's where he does need to get his gas from, and he can't afford to lose another base like that.
Actually seeing a push out now from Arthur. Going to push with it those... doesn't want to get caught in that time warp, actually, because those Colossi would go to town, but instead just pulling back. I think you need to see a lot more Vikings being added to this composition, and that's exactly what Lillekanin is chucking in. 3 Vikings being made at a time at this point, going to be used for killing Colossi, killing Tempests, very importantly as well. And
with the Widow Mines.
Yeah.
Even more burrowing. Oh, they're going to get under those Tempests and obliterating the Sky Force with just these Widow Mines. Going to go down as well, and Lillekanin is pushing on forward. These Tempests, this is like the slowest car chase in history. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically how I would describe it. The Marines are going to kill off the Tempest, because it takes 2 Tempest shots to kill a Marine compared to God knows how many Marine shots, but in the time they've got, it's just so easy for those to be finally picked off. And with all these tanks, I'd like to see him kind of blast through the rocks, but at this point, complete dominance being shown by Lillekanin as he contains his opponent. Arthur is down to 18 army supply, and with the Vikings moving in, it might not be long before we see the much vaunted Korean type GG for the second time.
Oh my god, Lillekanin is making it happen as he does come in with his Vikings.
Wow.
Well won, and GG is called. Lillekanin 2-0s Arthur, and finds himself a seat in that winner's match. Whoa, whoa, whoa now.